Welcome back to another video. My name is Chad Johnerson. I am your Denver Modern Agent, and today we're going to be talking about the Denver Metro Market Report that was released by the Denver Metro Association of Realtors. Now, every single month they release one of these reports, and it's for the prior month. So we're in October. We're going to be talking about September data. Now, keep that in mind as I go through this, that this is not technically October, even though it is the October monthly report. All right, so we're going to keep it nice, simple, and clean. We're going to just talk about all of the residential transactions as a whole, detached and attached homes, and what the data that we're looking at and what it means. Now, first thing we're going to talk about is active listings at month's end. So at the end of September, we had 3,971 active listings. In comparison to September of 2020, that is down 25.09%. That is a substantial decrease in the number of active listings. With that being said, if you're looking at a traditional real estate market where things have ramp up and slow down, it kind of makes sense that it's not as wide of a discrepancy as we might see in some of the other months, because this is going to be one of the slower months as we go into fall and into school and everyone's settling down and families getting ready and not really want to move a bunch. Now, if we compare that number to the prior month in August of 2021, the active listings at month end is actually up 10.86%. So we had a little bit of a supply bump at the end of the month compared to that of August. Again, it relates to how much people were willing to want to purchase homes and move at the end of August, right? You're getting ready for the school year and in moving into a new house and getting settled down. The end of September, you're already in the school year. Probably not really wanting to do that much. Now let's talk about closed homes. We had 5,233 closed homes at the end of September. That is down 19.27% from September of 2020, and it is down 12.81% from August of 2021. So again, that screams to me supply issues. We're still seeing these supply issues. There's just not enough homes on the market to satisfy the buyer demand. Now, what is the close price on average for these homes? Well, you're seeing about a $618,000 close price. And year over year, that is a 15% increase or appreciation in your home's value. So things are still ramping up. Granted, I don't think it's going to stay like that forever. It really does depend on what the Fed takes for a course of action in the coming months as we start to move away from all of the financial support that they were providing to the economy and the stock market and the jobs market, right? Now, in comparison to August of 2021, that average price is up 0.77%. So a slight bump, slight appreciation month over month. The close price median is actually down 0.5% month over month, but is up 15.2% year over year. Now, the average days in the MLS, this is just crazy. It's only 13 days. Now, when you compare that to 2020, September 2020, that is down 43%. That's literally almost half the amount of days in the MLS that what we were seeing in 2020. So think, you had property sitting for 21, 22 days, which really in reality is not that long of a time frame, but now it's only 13 days. That is crazy. Now, when you compare that to August, it's actually up 18%. So, a little softening in the market. People aren't going as crazy. And it's probably from a little bit of the rate scares and the Fed saying that they're going to start tapering. Now, if we want to compare some historical data to what we're seeing in the market today, the average active listings for September was about 16,000 listings, and that's data that stretched from 1985 to 2020. The record high was actually in 2006 with 31,000 listings. However, the record low was set this September with 3,971 listings. Now, take into consideration, that is just the Denver metro area, but still, you can see the stark contrast of the type of market that we are in. Seasonally, we should see a 0.8% decrease in active listings from August to September. However, this year's increase of 10.8% represents the highest month-over-month increase to date. That is the most amount of properties we've seen come onto market from August to September. Why that is? Probably because sellers think that the market's going to soften and they're going to have an opportunity as well to get into something different. Or maybe they're just moving out of metro areas and more into your rural areas because they value space, because they're spending so much more time at home, because you just never know, right? With a pandemic that could hit, or a natural disaster, or something going on in someone's life, it's nice to have a little bit more space in your property. Last thing I want to talk about is the cost of lumber. And on October 1st in 2019, the cost of 1,000 board feet was about $362. Now in May of 2021, we topped nearly $1,700. We were right at $1,686, which is absolutely insane, and that is the highest price for lumber that we have ever seen. So on average, that would add about $34,000 to a new build home. So that's why a lot of builders were kind of on pause and waiting to see how this would all work out when they had to use this cost of lumber without increasing the purchase price of their home. Now, the good news is that lumber is trading around $600, which is down 64% from those highs. So that means that we're starting to come back to somewhat normal, or the new normal. Granted, that is still about 50% higher than 2019, but it is more reasonable now for builders to proceed. However, they still have to fight that supply chain issue that we've been facing ever since the ship that got stuck in the Panama Canal, and COVID as well, impacting all of these things. It's just really put things on pause or in slow motion, making it a little bit tougher for builders to complete on time and on schedule without missing, tiny parts or door handles or screws. You just never know what they might not have on hand when they're building their new homes. Now, with all of that data in mind, let's just get on to the opinion section of where I see the market kind of heading, and things that I'm seeing as well in my local area. I will say, the market can have a very, very tough feel to it at times. I mean, a couple weeks ago, I was working with a buyer and we submitted an offer on a house that had 37 other offers. And like I said, I hadn't seen that since, April, May, June, when things were absolutely crazy. Now that frenzy is starting to let up a little bit. And whenever the frenzy lets up, there are those buyers that were kind of burnt out in the middle of it that have been waiting on the sidelines for this to happen. So don't think that prices are just going to start dropping rapidly and the market's just going to fall through, because it's not. There are people that still have cash on the sidelines that still want to own a property. I don't think that we're going to see a massive decline in home prices over the next 6 to 12 months. I think if anything, we remain stagnant and flat, if not move upwards a little bit. It all really depends on the Fed's position on financial policy and where they want to move from here. Now, I will say that sellers are still letting their house sit on the market to wait for an offer to come across the table that is not contingent on the sale of their own home. So with this much demand in the market, I mean, it makes sense. That's why you're seeing houses sit on the MLS a little bit longer, because they want to wait for an offer that's not contingent on the sale of a home. Now let's talk a little bit about the elephant in the room, iBuyers. I mean, when you think of iBuyers, think of OfferPad, Zillow Offers, Opendoor, Redfin Now, the big players that are purchasing up massive amounts of real estate. According to the Wall Street Journal, iBuyers were paying well over 100% of the purchase price in order to close on properties. Opendoor was paying nearly 108% of the list price, which is absolutely crazy to me. But think of it, maybe they're just grabbing onto real estate to hold on to it because they know that property does not replicate. It is not repeatable. Land cannot be duplicated. So hopefully we start to see that let up a little bit and relieve a little bit of pressure on the market and allow some of the retail buyers a chance to get into a home. And I will say it is not impossible to do. A lot of those iBuyers transactions are happening behind the scenes before a house even hits the market. So don't think that when a house goes on the market, you're competing against iBuyers, because that's just not the reality. I mean, sometimes it can be, but most of the time that's not what you're going up against. As always, feel free to reach out to me whenever you need to. My contact information is down below. I am here to be a resource for you. Reach out, ask me any questions that you might have. Let's see how I can help you today. And if you want a link to this report, that will also be down in the description. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. And as always, I hope you have a great rest of your day. And if you want to check out some new builds, check out these right here.